If you're going to take the step to be in the spotlight, you have to be willing to take those darts in the back. I have to be happy and love what I do. The last thing you learn in wrestling is how to wrestle. The first thing you learn is about life. You have to not be afraid of risk and failure. You're never going to go undefeated.
What's going on, guys? This is the Dreams and Day Jobs podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff, along with my boy and co-host,
Travis.
And today we have a special guest. It's been a little minute since we filmed, but today's guest is a longtime friend of mine. He's an entrepreneur. He is a professional fighter. Some would say a master networker. He is an aspiring politician. He's a husband. He's a father, and just an all-around good dude. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Orosco. What's up, dude?
Hey, thanks for having me. Let's go, baby.
Thanks for having us.
Let's go.
In your new crib, your 3-story crib in New Haven. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
So I kind of want to just jump right into it. You know, for people who are going to watch this, and even Trav, dude, I feel like you don't really know like a ton about Steve. You know, I've known you for a while, and dude, when I was younger, I've probably known you for about like over 15 years now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we call it dreams and day jobs. So like the two of us working 9 to 5, right? And out of all the years I've known you, I feel like I've never seen you work a 9 to 5, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was younger, you know, you were living in Cali, and you would come home, and it'd be like a Tuesday at like 11, and I'm like clocking, you know, I'd be at work and I'd have to work, and he would just, you know, he'd like be flying here, having dinner with this person, or like be filming content. I'm like, dude, then you have to go to work. Like, you just never,
Yeah.
I never saw you clock into a job.
Yep.
And but you always had like the nice car, the nice clothes, you just, you know, the nice apartments. Now you got the nice house, and you just always had it going on. And I can remember from a younger age being like, I enjoyed being around you because I was able to kind of suck up that energy. And I was just like, oh man, like I'm over here going to work, and this dude is just like doing all this cool stuff with this cool people, with, you know, all these cool people. And, I just always kind of like looked up to you in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I remember.
Can you just dive in a little bit to like, I guess my first kind of question is, were you always an entrepreneur? Did you always have that mindset, like from a young age, or was that something that you built? Because I do know that you were on the road to a corporate, like quote unquote day job. Like you went to college, you got the degrees, and which you were successful at, and then you kind of just like 180, and now you're just like an entrepreneur. So,
Because it's tough because we're all raised to go to college, find a career, work for 40 years, retire, call it a day. Now we're not all built like that.
yeah.
I did do that. In undergrad, I majored in finance and marketing, and I worked on Wall Street. I got recruited by a firm here in Shelton called Barnum Financial Group, which is what brought me here. So as I'm in finance, I went back to school, and I got 2 master's degrees, an MBA and a master's in science management, which, by the way, I lied my way into the program.
Wow.
Because it was an executive MBA program where you had to have 4 or 5 years of managerial experience to get in. So I had a friend of mine who owned a video store, lied and said I ran management for 5 years. So I got in. So I'm this kid, I'm 24 years old, I walk in this room, everyone is like 40 plus. Wow. Like VP from Chevron, Pitney Bowes, Sikorsky. People looking at me like, I don't belong in there. Yeah. And I like that feeling. So the first day, so the way the MBA program was set up was the new paradigm shift in the corporate world was small group work. How do you work in groups? So for those 2 years, you're supposed to be with a single group. So it was like we're playing dodgeball. Everyone had to pick a team. Nobody wanted to be on my team until after the first day we had a presentation. And I was like, yo, this kid's good. So everyone wanted to be on my team. Long story short, I graduated 3.9 GPA. I killed it. But during this time, I hated finance. I was doing well. I had a freshman superstar award, made leaders, everything. But I'm not the kind of person that can go and work for a paycheck. Some people can, that's fine. I'm not built like that. During this time, I also found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Started wrestling when I was a kid. I met Andrew Calandrelli one night at Gotham City when we were partying back in the day. And we weren't like talking shit to each other. We were kind of like, wrestling's better than jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu's better than wrestling. Oh, why don't you come down and test your wrestling against my jiu-jitsu? So I went down there. Literally the next day, I was like, yo, this is what I'm talking about. He puts me up with his brother, Joe Abate, God rest his soul. This dude was a purple belt at the time. He tapped me out like 10 times in 5 minutes. Yeah. Bro, I was sold. Sold. So I hit the bug. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was at jiu-jitsu like twice a day. That was my love. And that overtook me wanting to make money. And then, a lot of other things happened. And I decided to move to California in 2009 and try to turn pro as a fighter and kind of follow my dream. Because that was my dream, to try to get to the UFC. But it was like, it was later in life. I think I was 29 at the time. So turning pro at like 30 and not 20 is a much different ballgame.
Super late, you think?
Super late. So I knew I had one run. So as far as MMA is concerned, moved to California, turned pro in like 2011. Yeah. I fought 9 times in 18 months. Damn, that's killed my body, bro. I was fighting every other month. Yeah. Injuries, it was crazy. I was like, yo, I only got one shot.
That's awesome.
And I'm an all-in kind of guy. I can't I have to be happy and love what I do.
Yeah. So while you were in school on the road to going to Wall Street and getting these, this corporate job, this 9 to 5, you always had a love for MMA or wrestling. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wrestling. So before we jump into how you started Smash Global, and I know you love wrestling to this day. So my question to you is what do you think you learned from wrestling that has taught you about life, and then maybe that you've used in business? Is there anything that you learned wrestling?
Wrestling, they say the last thing you learn in wrestling is how to wrestle. The first thing you learn is about life. You have to not be afraid of risk and failure. You're never going to go undefeated. Yeah. How many times I lost? Bro, in wrestling, my freshman year, I lost 10 times, 11, 12, 13 times.
That's got to be an ego hit.
Yeah. And that's physically getting beat by something. It's not like, getting rejected.
Everything to the sport.
Yeah. It's funny you say risk and failure, man, because which is why I'm so drawn to like-minded people. You say risk and failure, and those are two things that I feel like growing up around here, I could openly admit, I really haven't taken any huge risks like that. You know what I mean? So being able to talk to you and to other people that have really put themselves out there and have embraced failure and risk is kind of makes me think damn, I really didn't take a lot of risk at all. You know what I mean? So I just think that's, and the whole thing, even with moving to California, I feel like that's kind of always why, when you were around, I was kind of like this big brother type energy. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, he's just doing this and he's not afraid to do this about, he's not worried about what his parents are going to think. He's got money. He just, you know what I mean? So I think that's awesome.
Because risk is everything. Most people are afraid to fail and take risks. I'm definitely not. That's what wrestling taught me.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to, before you say that, because you said I got to do something I love. So that's a big premise of our friendship, and I know why he is so drawn to you and really respects you, because you've done that through your whole life. Yeah. So doing something you love and rejection are go hand in hand. Yeah. So it's, how do you fight? I wanted to ask you, how do you deal with rejection? How does that go about? What kind of if you said maybe if you broke it into 3 steps, you first get rejected, and then maybe there was 2 more steps. Number 1 being the rejection, and then what is 2 and 3, and then how you get back on the horse?
Whether it's wrestling, business, anytime you've maybe got, have faced rejection or failure in your career,
it just makes me more motivated. Most people get rejected or they fail and they just kind of curl up in a ball. I'm yo, I got to prove people wrong. When I ran for mayor, it was also trying to prove people wrong that you can flip a blue city. Yeah. Did it work? It didn't work, but at least I tried it. Yeah. And I love being the man in the arena. I just rather take the darts and take the arrows in the back and keep on pushing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I was just going to ask you another question, but I want to just
the arrows.
Now let me go. Well, I want to get back to the.
That's awesome.
I want to get back to the mayor thing after, but Would you say that starting and creating Smash Global really put you like kind of on the map and really started to get you into certain rooms? Because, you know, you go to your Instagram page, dude, and like I said, you're just, if someone didn't know who you were, you go to your Instagram page, you're rubbing shoulders and shaking hands with like some of like the most famous people in the world, dude. It's crazy. Like I went on your page, it's like Mel Gibson, Steven Seagal, like Mario Lopez, and, you know, Shane Mosley and Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, then the list goes on. A-Rod, Arnold, Stallone, the dude from Rocky IV, Drago. You know, it's you know, so it's like film, sports, athletes, reality TV stars. So, what was I just gonna say? Do you think that starting Smash Global is what really got you like, okay, like you're kind of like this public figure now, and now you're really a businessman, and really got you into entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Can you talk about like what Smash Global is, and where you got the idea to start that?
Yeah. So when I was fighting, this is my entrepreneurial spirit. I'm always looking for holes, you know? So for example, MMA, the one thing I hated about my sport when I was fighting was it was still a very NASCAR sport. Tap out t-shirts, Bud Lights, everybody bleed, bleed, bleed. I was like, man, like I came from a finance world. Where's the Formula One crowd? Where's the black tie crowd? Where's the elegance within MMA like they have in boxing?
Yeah.
Boxing has centuries and centuries of history where people would go to Vegas with their fur coats and gowns. They make it a thing. MMA hadn't evolved like that yet. So I said, let me do that. So I package it in a way where, you know, tickets were 500 to 1,000, 250, 300 people only, a cage in the middle surrounded by tables of 10, like a wedding. You're eating lobster and steak. You have a red carpet. You're inviting celebrities. You honor somebody every single time. You raise money for charity. And the first time I had a show, it was like, wow, like if you build it, they can come. And they did. The first two shows were in San Diego. It was kind of the proof of concept. Yeah. And then we took it to Los Angeles. And that was a whole nother level. That was like, you know, Freya Roach is there, and Tommy Hitman Hearns is there, and this celebrity and that celebrity. And it just became a thing. To now, you know, when I have them, I mean, it's been 2 years, but everyone wants to come to your show.
Yeah.
Like turned it into an opera.
So I gotta say this, dude. It's what's cool about you, dude. And again, one of the reasons why I've, you know, admired like what you've done is because you are an action taker, dude. Yeah. I don't know if you remember this. I feel like I've told you this before, dude. When I was living in San Diego, he was living in San Diego at the time. We were in, I think it was Park, the nightclub. We were in a nightclub in Park. You're an action taker, and we always talk about that. Like, there's a difference between like talking and taking action. And I remember, dude, you said to me, you were like, I'm gonna put on my own fights. Yep. And I didn't really know like what that meant. Yeah. But I'll never forget. And you said that you were going to move to Los Angeles and put on your own fights. And before you didn't have any of it. Like it wasn't a thing.
That is so true.
You told me, and I'll never forget that, dude. And like what was it, like maybe the next year or what? However, I don't remember the timeline from when you told me. But sure enough, dude, you did it, and I started to see you. I think I had moved back home at this point, and I started to see you at lunch with these celebrities, and all of a sudden you had this picture of this event space and a ring and this whole event, and with red carpets and beautiful women and announcers and celebrities. And I remember being like, dude, this dude is doing it. Like he said it to me. Like he said it to me, and he did it, and he's doing it. And I just always thought that was like super cool, like that you took the action to do that. So
you got a question for that? Because I got a question.
No, go ahead. All
right, I got a question for that.
I just wanted to point out
because that moment to me is super interesting, and I've had it in my life, and I know you have too, and everybody has, who is about just self-improvement. You're in San Diego at a nightclub. You got life going on already. You're already involved in something. All of a sudden, this new idea that maybe had been thought of, now it's kind of coming to life because you're telling Jeff randomly in the club. So you know it's like. So I want to know, like, that moment when that spark happens, and obviously develop discipline throughout your life, through finance, through fighting, through growing up. So it's not like that's the time that you built discipline to now go and spark a new idea and know that you're going to be good. I'm like more interested in, once you get that idea, that's a new idea. A lot goes into it. Where do you start and how do you gain momentum to keep it and see it through like you did? What did that look like? Like soon after you had that conversation with Jeff, how soon after was that first event? And kind of what was that like emotionally like and strategically like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it for a while because when I was fighting, you know, I would have family members like my mom or like my wife, like coming to these shows like on these Indian reservations. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Some of these places that I'm fighting at, like, how do I change this? And I love the sport so much, and the only way you can stay into something is you got to love it. You really have to be passionate about it. So at the time, I had two choices when I was going to stop fighting. It was start my own fight league or open up my own MMA gym. At the time, I didn't really want to train people. I don't want to be up at 5 a.m. cleaning mats or at 11 p.m. cleaning mats, dealing with people. Let me go this route because I want to be my own UFC. There's such a whole void that needs to be filled. And it's all about, you know, what's the word? If you can create the demands, like people will come. So I just built it. I saw it and just went in on it, you know, with actually no real plan because I never did an event by myself.
Yeah.
You know, but I had to do everything. I had to do the event planning, get the fighters, work the athletic commission, get my licensing.
I mean, just the amount of just reaching out of your imagine like how much out of your comfort zone that is to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So do you feel like?
But I thrive better in chaos and comfort. Just my personality.
Okay.
If you put me in something that's comfortable, I get complacent.
Yeah.
I get bored. I think most people are like that.
Yeah.
But they don't realize it. It's like with your diet. Most people don't know how they're supposed to feel. Yeah. If everybody ate clean, they would feel so much better. But they eat like shit. You know, so I always use the analogy of my wedding bands. Yeah. When I'm eating clean, I'm moving around like this all day. I have one cheat meal, I can't even move it.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It means you have so much inflammation in your body right now. Everyone around here is walking like that all the time. They wonder why they feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know?
So true.
So same thing in the corporate world, or you're doing something you're not happy with, you're miserable.
Yeah. So, okay, so you start Smash Global, you do your first show, it's a success. You do another show, you start gaining momentum. I'm seeing more and more celebrities do it. Like I said, like A-list actors, and it's just, there had to be a point where like, you know, I'm sure you had your head down and you were busy and, you know, but there had to be a moment where you just like kind of stepped back and was like, dude, like I did this, like I'm doing it. Like, you know, like, did you know, you must've noticed like different, you know, so I guess my question is you've built such a network.
Yep.
And I want to know like how you were able to reach out to and build all these friendships with these high level people, and how has that network helped you in business and like to this day? It's
just a spiral effect.
Yeah.
It's like one purchase leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and all of a sudden you have this whole like network. Like, where did this even come from? It seemed like I never actually slowed down to smell the roses, to even like look at what I did during that time. It wasn't until I came to Connecticut that I actually slowed down. My life turn was a complete 180.
Yeah.
You know, but looking back, I look back like, wow, I really did do that. You know, because most people, if you're from small town USA, you look at a celebrity like, oh my God, they're way up here on a pedestal, not because they're better than you, because they're not, because I've been around them, they're just normal humans, but it's because we don't have access to them.
Yeah.
So you think they're in this whole different world, but they're not. There's normal people like us. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, they want to be treated like normal people.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I always thought it was cool, man. Even there's like content creators and dudes online with huge followings that I listen to and that I follow, and they're mentioning your name, dude, like in a podcast, or like they're mentioning like Smash Global, and I'm like, dude, like it's just cool. Like for some people like us who have aspirations to, like, you know, not to say I'm not grateful for my job and I'm not grateful to have a job that I can learn and, you know, all that. But for people who have aspirations to like one day make money off maybe their own brand, it's just, I always just was, that's again, I was always just like enjoying and soaking up the time when like you were around, because I just thought that was just like cool that you were doing that. When you say you like, you see a celebrity, like, wow, to sort of feel like I had access to like, oh man, like I'm friends with this guy and he's doing this. Like, I just thought that was cool. You know what I mean? So,
Now, so hold on. So
Yeah, go
Steve,
ahead.
in the midst of, so like you said, I didn't have a moment to like step. You didn't have you did have a moment, but you just didn't choose to step back. You were so involved in it.
Yeah.
And I could get that because I was going to ask you something about that. Did you kind of be present in the midst of it? You know, maybe at times, but you kind of addressed that. But when it came to your family at that time, you know, your son is older now, and you had your family back then. So you had your wife, you had your son. How did that put a strain at all on them being so kind of driven and, you know, because balancing that family with all the entrepreneurial things that people do, especially you can't.
Can't.
So how did?
Because I feel guilty from time to time because of it. Even to this day, I had a conversation the other day about it. So unlike most people, I've lived both lives. Not many people can say this. And it was forced. It wasn't because I wanted to. So when I was doing Smash Global, for me to be able to accomplish what I wanted to, I had to be out all the time, networking all the time. So I wasn't around my family. They're home. And this is between my son was, let's just say 1 and 6. So, and those years are really all about mom anyway. But, you know, my wife was able to stay home with him. So she had that time, which she always says is priceless. She said, oh man, I'm so glad you let me have that. But during that time, all I cared about was the pursuit. It was like family was second. And most men are like that. We're on our pursuit, we're on our hunt, we're on our grind. I know we make the excuse for doing it for our family, but at the end of the day, we're not. We're doing it. I'm sorry, we're doing it for ourselves, for our own pursuit. Yes, the benefit is we get to take care of our family and give them a future. But if you really break it down,
You want to reach your potential.
yeah, selfishly. But on top of that, your kids do not care about the size of your house, the car in your driveway, how much money you make, what celebrities you know, especially in those early years. They just want your time to the point where I had one moment in LA where I came home after an event and I walk in the door and Janine says, just so you know, she's like mad at me, right? And every right to be frustrated because she felt alone. She goes, just so you know, your son was crying tonight saying Daddy never plays with me. I was like, it broke my heart, but I got defensive like a typical man. And I'm like, but I'm trying to do this for our family and blah, 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 blah. I don't have time. And I'm like, wow, it's so selfish. But you have to be selfish to get to a certain point. So you have to think, what am I going to sacrifice? And I can talk about those regrets and how it hurt because fast forward to moving back here in 2019, COVID happened 6 months after we moved here. Janine went to work, started working at Sally's Pizza. I'm the entrepreneur, so guess who has to stay home with my son because of school? Me. So I went from the grinder to I'm home every day with my son, up with him, doing schoolwork till 1 o'clock. I'm also bringing him to practices. The first 2 weeks, I hated my life. I was a mom. It was the inconvenience and the nurturing ability is much different for a man. But like anything else, you get used to it and you adapt. After a few weeks, I was like, yo, I love this. Yo, I'm like a stay-at-home dad. This is cool shit. You know, to the point where when they went back to school, I actually felt for the first time what a mother feels when she has to go to work for the first time or send her kids to school and leave them and they're all crying. Like, why are you crying for? They're just going to school. Yeah. It's not a big deal. I like hurt inside, like leaving my kid. Yeah. You know, so now it's more of a struggle in my life where my son comes before money, but I also want to provide the things I want to provide. So to sacrifice my time with him, it's like, it's a much different ballgame now that I've felt both sides. Okay. Like what's more important.
Interesting. I kind of want to piggyback off now that we're on this topic. I kind of want to just piggyback off of that. So one of my questions, I have two questions. One of my questions was going to be, you know, how important, especially for someone like you who was on the pursuit, you're still on the pursuit, but definitely back then, you know, you're definitely on the pursuit. how important is it to be with the right person? You know what I mean? And it's like someone, you know, me personally, like, you know, because I know you guys, and I could say that I feel like your wife has been completely, maybe I'm wrong. It feels and looks like that she has, at the end of the day, whether she's mad at you or whether she says, oh, your son this, your son that, at the end of the day, she fully has your back, dude, and supports you in any decision you've ever made. So can you kind of just, I guess, talk about that, like how important that is? Like, do you think you could have been successful without her? Arguably, yeah, you probably could. But if you were with the wrong person, you definitely couldn't have been successful, no? That's definitely, right? It's you know, so that's important to be with the right person, right? Like,
It's probably the single most important thing a man can have. Is a woman who will rock with you. Even when I started Smash Global, and I still say this same phrase, exactly what she said. I said, what do you think about me doing this? And she said, I'll ride your coattails till the end. That's literally that statement is in the back of my head, because it's literally the exact thing she said. You know, and don't get it twisted, because there are times where even she has a hard time where, especially living here, Steve, just go get a job doing this, or go do this. Let's have some more like stability, not have 2 months we're killing it and then 2 months we're like, yo, what do we do next month? You know, but that's the life of an entrepreneur. So the sacrifice you have to make, right, aside from family, is what's more important to you, money or freedom of schedule? So for me, freedom of schedule is the most important thing there possibly is, because then I can reverse engineer my family's life with my entrepreneurship. So for me, that's most important. Until my son is, let's say, in high school, he's a little more free and on his own, doing his own thing, I don't want to miss these years. Are so important. You'll never get them back. Like this, like, especially as a boy, like I'm big on like the whole Spartan mindset. Like, yo, like the mom takes care of the kid, like the boy from 0 to 7. Then the father takes over from 7 to like 15 to teach him how to be a man and to hunt and to kill and all that. That's important. This is like the time. That's why I drive 45 minutes to Tugman Wrestling twice a week, 50 minutes to Middletown for Vail Soccer. I take him to the best places that he's made these teams where he's with the best competition, because it's going to make him a better human and a more competitive person.
see, and dude,
In such a small window, people don't understand how fast it goes. You're going to be like, holy shit.
As you're talking to me, I'm feeling like I'm living my life, minus like your journey. Like I can't wait to have that type of journey, but I can see, like today I had a really busy day. I barely saw my wife and daughter today. I jumped up upstairs once in a while. I'm running, putting stuff, I'm editing, I'm doing things. And I would just keep saying to her, because she's great. She's just like your wife. And I'm just like, babe, like, thank you. Like, thanks for letting me do this. And she's like, I know she's not stressing it, but I know what you're saying when it comes to even though you can't create the balance because the erraticness of the schedule sometimes, when you're trying to pursue something, there's the sacrifice of that, but the communication, it's like, for me, as now I'm early, you know, we've been married for 3 years, together for like 5, 6, but the communication, she knows, at least, like, I'm just like, I know, I don't want to text her through the podcast, but just peace of mind that, like you said, that caring, like, if you could reverse it and go back in those moments when they were stressing for you, would you do anything different? Like how you handled it? Would you maybe like, nah, I don't know. Would you do something different?
I would have been more present in the moments. Even when I was around them, those first 5 years building Smash Global, I feel like sometimes I wasn't present. Go to the park, go to the beach, but I wasn't present.
You're worried about emails coming in.
Yeah, because like your day doesn't stop. It's not like it's a 9 to 5 click in, click out. So I wish I was more present and enjoyed more of that. But I tell you what, there's not a single father on the planet, I feel like, that puts in the work that I do now, because they see me bring them here, and most parents don't do that because it's too much. It's not just that it's too much of a sacrifice, but you might not have the time to. You work until 5:30. Your kid has wrestling practice from 6 to 8 and it's just too much.
I will say, so I want to say 2 things. One, now that we're on like the wife talk and the marriage talk. I will say, dude, like, this is just my personal opinion. I've said this to both of you. you know, like when someone says marriage to me, immediately I'm kind of like, like people say, oh, you're gonna get married. I'm like, I don't like that. That's genuine, you know, but I will say when it comes to like you two, it's funny that we're all sitting together. You two are the two people that I think about that actually, when I'm around you and your wife or you and your wife, that make getting married look good to me. And I'm not saying that I don't know other people that are happy and successful, but you two are the two people that come up in mind first. Two people that if we're single would have no problem. You know what I mean? And you guys make it look like, damn, like, man, you know, being married could be cool. Like, you know what I mean? So
I just got to find the right person. Exactly. But I was always, I'm not going to say, you know, previous relationships, I was never like faithful, right?
Yeah.
But I was never like the pursuit guy. Like, I want to go smash this and smash this and smash this. And I met with this many girls. I was always in a relationship. It was like high school sweetheart, then a girl for 3 years, then a girl for 3 years, and my ex for 6 years, and then Janine for now 18 years. It's always like relationship driven because my mind works like that.
Yeah.
There's two kinds of guys, right, that bring home a girl. They bring home a girl after the club. They go home. They have sex. One guy is like, he'll get in the Uber and go home. The other guy, after sex, like pillow talking. And then the next day, we're on the phone. And then it happens again and again and again. I'm that guy. I'm the pillow talker. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not like the dude that want to smash and bye, peace. I'm just not built like that. I never was built like that.
I like some pillow talking, though.
Yeah. You know, so like some guy, I'm like the guy who always like falls in love. I like relationships. Yeah. You know, there's something about that.
Yeah. I feel like it's like the structure.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the ultimate commitment, and you have to be like your best, and you kind of want to be.
Yeah. But also too, again, like your wife believes in you and supports everything you're doing. Your wife believes in you and supports. Oh yeah, like you know, we have a family and a house and a real life situation, but yeah, like go work on your podcast, go shoot your YouTube videos, you know, go start a company, go do that. You know what I mean? So I just think you're right. It is being with the right person.
But roles matter.
Yeah,
for sure.
This modern society is so twisted right now.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like men, we've had this conversation, men and women are equally as important, but we have different roles.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, don't get me wrong. If my wife could go make $200,000 a year and I could stay home with my son, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know, and I would use my same drive to make sure he was an absolute monster in everything that he did.
Yeah.
You know, we're in this world where it's, you know, women want to be here and nobody wants to have roles anymore. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to destroy, you know, that like holy matrimony. Yeah. Like they don't want that. And they're just using all these little weird ways to jab at marriage and make people just steer away from it.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that, dude. I'm guilty of that. Like, I'm like, people at work will say to me, whether it's a client, oh, like you know, you're going to get married, something, straight up. Like that's how I feel. It's, to me, it's more, but you know, but again, when I'm around you and your wife and you and your wife, I'm like, oh man, like that would be, you make it look cool and make it seem like it's a cool thing to do. You know what I mean?
That thought.
But I'm trying.
Many old school.
I know. I get it.
Type of girls anymore.
But real quick though, I just want to touch on like back to your son, dude. So like you know, I feel like you're at this like different stage of your life. Your son's getting older. I see the content online. You know, you're taking him to soccer and you're on the mat with him wrestling and you're in his ear and you're saying, you know, probably just pep talking him and just being real with him and just, I just think that's so cool that like you're just kind of in a way just like creating this like in a way miniature version of you, but like also he's his own person.
Yeah, better.
And yeah, and I just think you know, like does part of me realize, you know, it's like does he realize like he's got like what does he realize what he's got? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you're like you know like
It doesn't until he's older.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm like the talk of all his friends.
Yeah.
You know, they all know I'm running for mayor. They all know that I was a fighter and like, yo, Jackson's dad could beat up everyone's dad.
Yeah.
You know, so he knows he has a dad that's on a pedestal, I guess you could say. So he has big shoes to fill. I tell him all the time. And we have high standards in this house.
I feel like your mindset, I would imagine that you're probably very like real with him and like, yo, this is like what it is. Like, whereas like, you know, probably a wife is probably more naturally like, oh, more coddling and stuff, where I'm sure maybe you do a little bit, but you're more probably like, no, like, like I remember you saying, you said you do homework with him, like he has straight A's because you sit down every night and make sure I just think that's awesome. Like, I would imagine having a son, there's got to be, how most men are like, oh yeah, I want a boy, but I would imagine there's also like, maybe not, but I would imagine that there's probably a little bit of a pressure raising a son, because you want him to be like this ladies' man, athlete, good student, like you know what I mean? So I would imagine that. Do you feel that at all? Like, do you feel like a little pressure, like that, like raising him, or no?
In this society, it's not as difficult because parents are soft.
Yeah.
They don't want their kids to fail. I want him to fail.
Yeah.
Like, for example, soccer, he excels at soccer. So he's a 2014. When you're really good, they'll allow you to play up a year. He tried out for one of the best teams in the state and was invited to play up a year and made the team, which is crazy to me. But because he has a savage mentality, and we talk about mindset, to the point where wrestling now is like, he kind of likes it. He doesn't love it, which breaks my heart. That's my love. I'm like, I want a 4-time state champion, blah, blah. But dude, soccer is his sport.
Yeah.
But he's always going to have to wrestle for the life lessons of wrestling. I tell him, like, the self-defense, the learning how to fail, to win humbly and lose graciously. All these things are so
So
important.
you still have him wrestle, even though like.
Yeah, we're wrestling tomorrow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because that's so important. Because I learned I learned that from football. So all those life lessons all came up in football after I stopped. I realized, the teamwork,
You still play D1. I always forget that you were a D1 athlete.
Yeah, it teaches you a lot, like any sport, like even playing in a band. It's the commitment. You're learning these life lessons that you're going to take on to move on in your life, and you're going to use those. It's like you don't develop discipline when you're, like I said with Steve, starting his own opera system with UFC. The discipline's been built. It's like, I just have to figure out the details, how I'm going to do it. But the discipline, how to make it move, is already there. But having him wrestle still, and I think it's really cool that you tell him those lessons now. Yeah. So now, if that was my dad, and my parents did a great job. I ain't knocking on them, but if they maybe knew that and shared that with me, now there's not this pressure of like, okay, I don't need to love wrestling to like perform and excel and have it take over my life when I don't love it. My dad's telling me how I'm going to be able to use it to apply to other things that I love. Yeah. I don't know, like that, because that could be an ego hit for your son, not to all of a sudden like wrestling. So how did you first react with that?
Most importantly is I'm an all-in kind of guy. So I feel like playing multiple sports isn't good anymore because kids are so one-dimensional now. If you want to go D1 or be a pro, you can't be playing all these different sports because they're all year round now.
Yeah.
Youth sports are a $40 billion industry, but there are some sports that are important that will make your main sport better. So Jax plays defense. So long story short, when he was playing rec, he played offense. He was a striker. He scored 4 or 5, 6 goals a game. I'm like, yo, I got a Messi on my hands. This is crazy. There was one game where he had 6 goals in the first half. I had to pull him out. He didn't play that second half of the game because parents were looking at me like what the F?
Miles.
You're like, what? Yeah, that's right.
You think, pull my kid. He's too good, But there was one year where because I coached up until U10, where once you go after like U10, parents shouldn't be coaching anymore. I was on a horrible team I had. And it was so bad. I said, Jax, you know something? Like, why don't you play defense? Let's try defense. Maybe it'll be better if you play defense. Dude, this kid played defense. He was a monster. Yeah. Bro, he was fouling people, checking people. No one ever got past him. He was a bully. He thrived. Yeah. I'm like, and he loved playing defense. That's because of his wrestling mentality, being on the mat. It's a contact sport. Yeah. And the reason why I know now it's so important is because this season was his first season with this elite team, Vale Newells. The first few weeks of the season, he was killing it. And all of a sudden I saw him, he was getting softer. I took wrestling away from him this fall. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is he getting softer? I had a conversation with him, like, Jax, there's no contact. Why are you hesitating? I said, something, I'm going back to wrestling next week. After 1 week of wrestling, the next weekend, he was smashing again. I was like,
How did you react to that, going back to wrestling? He was cool with it?
Oh, he was cool with it. And I was like, this is why we have to wrestle, because you need to keep that defensive contact mentality. And he was like, yeah, you're right, Dad.
So, and I think what's so important about this, and I think that the reason he probably trusts everything you say because of the life that you have created and the life that you live. You know what I mean? It's like, how could he, and this is like something I think about if I ever have a son someday, or daughter, but like a son especially, like, let's just say you were like fat and out of shape and like you were lazy and, you know, Janine didn't really respect you or look up to you, and he could see that in your relationship. Like, you know, he probably wouldn't be as receptive. Like, oh, you should wrestle. Like, I'll do it. I don't want to wrestle. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's probably also important for you to stay on top of your stuff.
Yeah.
So he looks at you and has a reason to believe what you're saying.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, kids see everything.
And I think sometimes parents, you know, I can't directly relate. I'm not a parent, but it's like, it'd probably be easier to listen to your father if you looked at him as like the man, like, you know, like my dad does this and that, and he's jacked, and he's you know, he does this, and you know, so you give him you want to have that influence, because as he gets older, you know, he's gonna find that influence somewhere else, if not you.
Absolutely.
Whether it's the internet, whether it's anybody, you know what I mean? So I just think it's almost kind of just as important for you to stay on top of all your stuff.
Yeah.
Because he has something to look up to.
I think the way you father is important too. A lot of fathers aren't loving either. You know, so for example, we push hard. If he loses or makes a mistake, I don't scold him for it. I say, what could we have done better? And we talk about it, and he knows next time. I never ever ostracize him. The most important thing though is, bro, like, love my dad, and we still have a great relationship. Even though my parents got divorced when I was 12, but my dad's a tough motherfucker. Like, I still fear him. Even though I know I could take him, I still fear him. I want my son to fear me, but I also want him to admire me.
Yeah.
There's that, the quote, respect comes from admiration and fear. A lot of fathers just focus too much on fear, and a lot of mothers only focus on admiration. That's why they never get respected. You need both of them equally. Yeah. So I'm the kind of father who, I hug him, I kiss him, I tell him I love him. I'll spoon with the kid in bed. You know what I mean? Like, I want him to know that being a man just isn't being like, I'm tough.
Yeah.
He knows I can fight and I can pretty much fuck up anyone in front of me. But I want you to know that it's okay to be like, yo, I love you. Yeah. You know? Most fathers that are tough and alphas, they don't do that. Yeah. Like it's a sign of weakness. But I think that the ability to show your vulnerability and still win is one of the most important traits you can have.
Well, what do they say? Like the person who wants to like say that they're alpha is that's not, you know what I mean?
Never use that word. It's such a stupid word.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
But
you're missing the other yin and yang part, which is the love part. You know, we all like to like look our best, and that's like that whole, I feel like it's a big ego thing with the alpha thing. Okay, we look the best, but
it is.
Let's just, you also have to have a soft side. You have to have a comforting side, a tender side. You have to. It's a balance.
It is.
So I want to touch on real quick. You said, just now that we're, you know, role models and fatherhood and stuff like that. Did you have any, like, I want to know, like, did you have any mentors growing up, or do you have anybody now that you either listen to, talk to for advice, or reach out to, or whether it was your business or whether it was growing up? Like, who are your mentors? Like, have you had any?
I would say I didn't have any mentors growing up. Wrestling would have been my mentor. Yeah. Like, just what you just learned in wrestling, bro. Like,
so what about your coaches? Like, were they like a big part of it? Like,
yeah,
because I know they're putting you through the motions, but are they telling you what you learned from it? Did you hear any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. But I just think it's just what you learn while you're wrestling. Yeah. Like, you're accountable. You have to be dependable. You have a team. If you win, it's on you. If you lose, it's on you. The harder you got to train. I mean, just.
What about for business? What about for not, like, what about now? Like, is there anybody that you reach out to when you have to make like a business decision, or?
Yeah, I would say like this week alone, maybe not this week. Let's say in the last month, I've talked to A-Rod, I've talked to Mike O'Hearn, my friend Paul Carger, who I have a lot of respect for. He's in Boston. He owns a wealth management firm. It's like a jiu-jitsu purple belt. Okay. He has $10 billion under management. He's like the guy in Boston, but he's he's like my favorite kind of person. So my favorite kind of people, I call them humble savages. Very humble, but when you step on the field, they're monsters. Like Michael Hearn, he's so humble, bro. Like he doesn't care what you think of him. He'll give you anything, but he's in the gym, he's a monster. A-Rod, no ego at all when you talk to him. He's like the nicest dude ever. When he's on the field, monster. Shane Mosley, Sugar Shane Mosley, bro. This guy is the most.
You're pretty tight.
Yeah, we're tight. One of the most soft-spoken, gentle people you'll ever meet. But if you watch him in the ring, it's like this. So like I really like that alter ego mentality. You know, to go from like A to B like this.
Why do you like because I know, like, I feel like the humble aspect comes first, because someone could be a savage and not be humble, and you immediately, if you appreciate humbleness, dislike that.
Yeah.
So why does the humbleness, why is that such a big thing for you? Big trait?
I don't do well with people that are cocky. I just don't. I think you have to show vulnerability, and to do that, you have to be humble, for sure.
So it's not like trying to, paint over your wounds and act like you've never been through anything and you're just always a winner. It's like that.
No one's perfect.
Yeah,
You know, people that play that role, they're just lying.
for sure.
I want to shift gears real quick.
Go for it, man.
Shit.
I want to shift into the fact that you just ran for mayor. And I'll be the first to say it. Like, I feel like when people hear your name or see your face now, they probably associate you with you running for mayor.
Yeah.
I don't really, I kind of do, but I feel like because I've known you and I say this not in in the most respectful, because I'm not a political guy. It's not my lane. Which is so for me, I'm more impressed with like you put on your own events and you did this and you know what I mean? So I guess my question is, while I totally respect like, the balls it takes to step up and do something like that, I guess my question is, when you decided to run for mayor, dude, like, did you have to like self-develop in any way before you like took that on? Like, were you like, okay, I'm really about to do this. I'm really about to put myself out there and run for mayor.
It's a whole nother hat.
Yeah. Like, did you have to maybe say like, okay, like this is going to be a whole different ball game. Do I have to, I don't know. Do I have to change in any way? Do I have to develop a certain skill, or is there anything that I'm unaware of that I'm going to need to step into that's uncomfortable for me to like, or were you just kind of like, no, this is me. I know what I'm doing. I got it. Like, what was that all like when like you told your wife, like, I'm going to run for mayor, like, or when you told your family and friends, like, was there any certain self-development that you had to go through? Did you have any pushback? Like, haters, supporters, like what was that whole process like?
All of that. I remember I was a Democrat up until 2020, and I changed just because I didn't like the way the country's going. Liberal heart, conservative mentality, and just my values just align more with conservative nature in my age. It's that simple. And now that I'm back in New Haven, I'm like, man, these people have been voting Democrat since 1953. Meanwhile, everyone's complaining about taxes. Everyone's complaining about crime. Everyone's complaining about education. And I'm like, if you're all complaining about this, let's just vote different. I'm a disruptor. I like to find holes in stuff and try to be the one to fill it. No different than the MMA hole. So I said, okay, change my party, run as a Republican. Also got the independent nomination as well. We'll just go all in and push. Elker was, I thought, very vulnerable. People seemed to very much dislike him, and I'm like, okay, this is the time if we're going to do it. Obviously, it wasn't. People don't like change, like we talked about. People will still hate everything about someone, and someone new will come in with like real innovation, and they'll be like, no, actually, I'm not ready for it. Or it just won't even vote. Obviously, got a lot of pushback. So Republicans are outnumbered 12-1 in New Haven. I'm a David versus Goliath kind of guy. That's what makes me tick. That's what makes me want to go after it. If it was the opposite, there's nothing enjoy about it. Nothing enjoyable. Because it's can you imagine the first person that could flip a blue city in a blue state? What that would do? Like, just from a media standpoint, change standpoint, whole country standpoint, that'd be crazy. So I was like, I'm going to go for it.
That's awesome.
Because only, dude, New Haven's, excuse my language, but it's fucked up. Only 12,000 people in a city of 135,000 voted in 2023's mayoral election.
Wow.
So I said, okay, so you're telling me I just have to try to galvanize enough people to get like 10,000 more votes to swing? That's got to be doable. The problem isn't getting people to change their vote. It's getting people to vote.
Get up and go to the,
Because everyone's like, oh, my vote doesn't matter. Or what's even worse is on election day, they're like, I'm not going to stop at the polls. He's going to win anyway, or my vote's not going to matter. I'm like, no, you all got to vote.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? And I'll tell you what, man, that was the hardest 6 months I ever worked. Harder than even Smash Global, you know? And it didn't move the needle. It was still the same people who voted, the same people who didn't vote.
So how do you feel now? Like, how have you dealt with that? Like, you know, it's, what was it, a couple of weeks back now? Like,
Yeah, November 4th.
Yeah.
It's tough because I'm not an election denier. I hate saying it 'cause I feel like you sound like a sore loser. But they cheated in Bridgeport. Like 6 people went to jail for it last year. They cheated in Stanford. And for me, what's hard for me to understand is Mayor Elker had 12,000 votes he got, which is the same amount of votes he got when he beat Tony Harp in 2019 to become mayor. That's when he was the most popular. But this was his biggest disapproval of all time. How did he get the same amount of votes? And how was it also, I got less votes than the guy who ran 2023 when I had 10 million views on social media, 600 shares of my campaign video, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of DMs from people saying they were voting for me. Those numbers just don't add up. On top of the fact that Trump had 7,000 votes in New Haven last year. So where the hell was everybody? Where was everyone on November 4th? So it's either there's fraud going on, which means you can never win here. So why waste your time? Or people just don't want to vote. So why waste your time? Why am I going to give up 6 months of my life and make all these connections and talk to all these people and do as much as I can and give my heart, and then people can't give up an hour of their day to show up to vote? So I'm like, this is crazy. What's the point?
Do you think now, is it still a drive for you to make that change? Because I feel like that'd be hard that with all that passion, that's got to be hard to give up, even knowing that, yeah, there might be fraud, but it's those conversations, like you said, hey, you're going to vote, meeting the people, being out in front of people, because it might be that they're just not taking action, which we know most people don't like to do. So even that first step of, hey, are you going to vote? No, my vote doesn't matter. Or, oh, no, I'm not going to go on my way home. It's just such a simple thing, but they won't do it. It's like they say, I don't know, but you have chat, you have Google. They still don't know anything.
Yeah.
So how did that passion, that passion still got to be there. So will you run in the future? Or are you going to still do anything, politically?
It's tough because plan A was win. Plan B was if I can double the voter base from 2,000 to 4,000, then you run again, because now people are going to flood money at you in your campaign. Plan C, which is now what happens if you get less votes than the last guy. Now no one's really going to believe in you, even though people are still messaging me, Steve, you got to run again. Okay, so you want me to give up 2 years of my life and take the chance that no one's going to show up? That's a tough thing, because now people don't understand. I sacrificed so much time with my family, which is the most important thing to me now, as you know. I wasn't taking my son to soccer practice. He was carpooling, all for everyone else, for progress, but no one actually accepted the progress I wanted to give. So it's like a disheartening, it's kind of.
But also that ties into being able to take failure, maybe back from the wrestling thing, you know what I mean? Putting yourself out there, the fact that you even just.
I had someone on the inside. He goes, Steve, this kid in Fairhaven, and it hit me hard. He goes, Steve, you know something? You're the better candidate, but you can't help people. No, you can't care about people that don't care about themselves. So if these people don't actually care enough to vote this person out and vote you in for change, then that's not your fault. That's not your problem. That's their problem. So I hold on to that. So for me to do it again, I got to take 2 years in campaign. That means not working for 2 years. I'm not sacrificing that. There's no way.
Yeah, definitely.
I could see how that would put you in a hard place, because that compromises your whole values of freedom of schedule, and that means your family having time, but still able to pursue everything you want. to sacrifice for people who
can't.
don't appreciate it.
Nope.
No, I don't know. I don't think I would either.
No,
Not
it's
worth
not.
it.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
I just had something. I wanted to, oh, okay. So, ever since you kind of moved back
Yeah.
to the East Coast, I could remember when you moved back, man, and I remember seeing you, like, you would post, and slowly but surely I started to see, like, a bunch of people that I knew, like, liking your pictures, or you were at this place taking pictures of these people, and it just seemed like you were able to really kind of, you know how to network, you know how to befriend people, and you know how to talk and shake hands, and I remember being like, man, like, everybody loves this dude. Like, I just remember thinking that, like, he moves back and he's friends with these people over here, and then he's like, oh man, but he's also friends with these people, and he's posted up here, he knows this. It just seems like you were able to quickly, like, get your name out here and just kind of become like I guess a public figure, like, around here. And I never really saw you, well, I don't know what your DMs look like, and but I never really saw you get any hate that I'm aware of until like the political stuff started.
Yeah.
And you were, like, posting those crazy messages that I saw someone sent you. So
Correct.
yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, how do you deal with how do you deal with the hate? Because I know sometimes, even for me, people, like, we'll post, somebody will say, like, one negative thing, and I'm like, damn, like I've let one negative comment in my past, like, stop me from posting, and I have to work on that. And so I'm wondering, like, for you to just have, like, the guts to just put yourself out there and run for mayor and convince people that, like, you're the man for the job, and having people just, like, just shit on you and hate on you, like, that's got to be hard to, like, how do you deal with that?
No fear of failure. Gotta take risks.
Yeah,
That'll never stop me, ever.
that's awesome.
Not to say that it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
Like, I read those comments, I'm like, damn. Like, you really thinking that about me?
Yeah, and then
When you don't even,
You're like, am I even good enough? Like, maybe they're right. Like, are they right?
yeah, but it's the whole thing. Like, if you're the man in the arena, you can't care about the people on the sidelines. Just the way it is. If you're going to take the step to be in the spotlight, you have to be willing to take those darts in the back. Yeah. Otherwise, don't even go in the spotlight. Think about it, like, look at Donald Trump or Kim Kardashian. Go onto their pages. Look at the hate that they get. Like, yo, really? You're saying this about this person?
Yeah.
Don't even know them.
You don't even know them. You just see what you see on TV. That's not even the real person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
That's why I get upset when people would... It's more about doubting my character. That I don't like. Because I'm doing it for the right reasons. And I see a city that's failing. So let me go in there and try to make it better. Because at the end of the day, a mayor is just the CEO of a city. Your job is to go in to make the city more efficient. It's not rocket science. Yeah. You got to put the right piece of the puzzle and you win. Yeah. All these cities are failing. To the point where I say the same thing about red towns. There's places in Mississippi and Alabama and Kentucky that have been voting red since 1953, where people live in trailer parks, everyone's poor, everyone's addicted to meth, education is worse than here. Like, yo, why are you still voting Republican? Vote these clowns out and vote all the Democrats in, and maybe they have a better plan for you. And if they don't, vote them out in 2 years. How is that hard to conceive unless your ego? The problem today is people will never allow their worldview to collapse, to think differently. They just want to carry their old bricks to try to build a new house. You can't do that.
Like that. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You have to be like, all right, you know something? Maybe I am wrong. Maybe someone else has a better idea. Let's just give them a shot and see what happens. Yeah. But that's how I think. But I've also lived all over this country. I've seen different things. I've been in the hood. I've been around billionaires. I've been around celebrities. And I feel like everyone is the same. You know, we all have the same issues. We all want the same things. So
before I ask, again, I just got, I don't know where we're at on time, but I want to...
We're probably
close?
Probably.
All right, so I just want to ask you real quick. So I'm going to ask one final question, but before that, I'm going to ask a quick question before the final question.
There we go.
I want to know what has been your biggest, whether it's recent or when you started Smash Global, moving across country, whatever. What was your biggest, like, challenge slash setback that you ever faced where you were like maybe just like at night looked at Janine and being like, yo, like I don't know how I'm gonna do this, or like what's been like the biggest, like what's the word, the phrase I'm looking
Challenge.
for? Yeah, well,
Challenge.
challenge, but also like problem. Like what's like the biggest problem? Like you don't know if you're gonna make it. Type like, am I gonna have to give up and this whole thing's gonna go under? Like, can you recall any moments where you had like a huge, like a big problem?
Oh, I've had a lot of them. The
Give me an example.
The life of an entrepreneur is crazy. And
So like, what's one that sticks out? Whether it's like running for mayor, whether it's starting your own business, Smash Global, what's like something that you were like, oh my God, like, am I making the wrong move? Like this, how am I going to fix this? Like, is there anything that you could think of off the top of your head or no?
yeah, I got a couple.
Yeah.
I would say the most definitive moment in my life that was a failure was my last fight. Because I went all in. Like I gave up everything to pursue this. When we get into the UFC, and I was later in life.
Yeah.
So when I was 8-0, and I'm on a roll, bro. I'm like smashing everyone. I'm on Team Alliance. My training partners are Michael Chandler, Dominic Cruz. Like I'm in the lion's den. And I knew I was ready. And I had this opportunity to go to Australia to fight their number one kid. He was like 18-4 at the time. He was like number one kid in Australia, going to fighting in his city, Melbourne, Australia. And I was like, yo, I'm going to smash this kid. And I got there and I just bombed it, and I got knocked out in the first round. I've never dropped. And I remember that moment where I guess I just gave up, like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
Where, so the whole story is this. I'm walking with the main event. It's like 2 a.m. I'm fighting because I'm in Australia, different time zone. They're like 18 hours ahead or something. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm walking out to the ring. And I get in the ring and the crowd is screaming. It was crazy. I felt the energy and I love that shit. And all of a sudden now he comes out. Bro, it got so loud in there. I felt the ring like shake under my feet. And I'm watching him. He gets in the ring and he has like this glimmer in his eye. And at that very moment, I doubted myself. I'm like, oh fuck, like he ain't playing. Like I could just see, you can just see like the twinkle kind of thing. And they yell his name, everyone's screaming. They yell my name. It was like, fuck America. And then we go in the middle. We're staring at each other, and I felt like I was faking it. I was like, oh man. I go in my corner, and the bell rings, go out to fight. And normally when I come out to fight, I'm like all gas, like a wrestler. I'm trying to take you down, ground and pound, get you to turn your back, choke you out. It's a wrap. That's how most of my fights went. This fight, I was more pitter patter, because this whole training camp, I'm not wrestling. This kid had his whole fight camp in Thailand. He's a striker. I'm going to show the world that I can strike. So I came out, a couple of pitter-patter leg kicks. I landed a jab. And I threw a hard left hook. He threw a right hand at the same exact time. He timed it. And it was like, and I don't remember anything after that. All of a sudden, I'm backing up against the ropes. He comes up. He throws an uppercut. It splits my gloves. And I drop, and I'm on all fours. And I'm looking down, and my nose is pouring blood for the first time in my life. He's behind me, throwing punches. It sounds like gunshots going off in the back of my head. Because you don't feel it because adrenaline's taking over. But you hear the crack, 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 crack. The ref is yelling at me, improve your position. I'm in like my corner. And my coach is screaming at me. The crowd is so loud, I couldn't even hear myself think. All I had to do was turn over and pull guard, hold them, and get my composure back, and I would have recovered, but I just froze. First time in my life I ever froze. And I still think, and I mention that because not a day goes by that I don't think about that.
Really?
There's never been a day that has gone by. So I'm like, man, what could I have done different? And I remember that night, think about this. I'm in Australia. There's 2 other kids from America that also came. We have a house. The other 2 kids lost as well. We're also good fighters, because normally go to other countries, a big disadvantage, traveling, cutting weight, away from home. They went out and partied all night. I stayed in my room by myself in silence. Like, I was so depressed and so like, bro, what am I going to do with my life? It was probably one of the most heartbreaking moments of my life. I mean, obviously you recover from it.
Yeah.
but you learn from it too. You know, I kind of use that as fuel still.
Yeah. I just recently saw a clip of Andrew talking, and he goes, "There's nothing worse than losing a fight." He talks about it. He goes, "It's an unbelievable hit to your ego. He says it. He was like, "There's nothing worse." Like I don't.
There's the goosebumps because
Oh shit! Yeah, definitely.
because you can't explain it. No, unless you actually. That's why I always tell everyone they should fight once in their life, not like street fight. Like even if it's an amateur boxing fight, train for 8 weeks and then go into a ring with someone and fight. It's like your souls.
Yeah.
And then after the fight, you guys, the amount of respect you have for the other person, whether you win or lose, is like second to none.
Yeah.
And
You got in there.
got in there. So I respect anyone who fights.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're an amateur or a pro.
Yeah.
It takes because it's also the scariest moment of your life. Everyone thinks, oh, you're a fighter, you're tough, you're a savage. Bro, before every fight I had, I was so scared. I was shit like 10 times.
He was trying to kill you.
Bubble guts.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't even know how to think. I'm like in the back trying to warm up. Nothing's working right. Everything feels like 1,000 pounds. You know, then the bell goes off and it's like, you got to try to zone in. You have a crowd of people. It's really difficult.
What's interesting to think about is that if you won, how your life would have turned out.
I know. I think about it all the time too.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, would you have?
I would have went to the UFC if I'd won that fight. I was definitely like 2 fights away.
Dang.
But I broke my rank. The goal was to get to 10-0 and then to go challenge myself at that level.
Yeah.
But, you know, an opportunity knocks, you take it.
Yeah.
And I took it.
Damn.
And I was ready. Like, skillfully, I was ready.
Yeah.
But I think mentally, I was not ready yet.
And it's interesting you said too. It's almost like you. Do you feel like in that moment you felt that self-doubt that you were talking about, or did you realize that after? Like, oh man, I doubted myself, or did you, or in that moment where you like, oh my god, I doubt myself right now.
Yeah,
Like,
I did.
You
I
felt
doubted
it
myself.
in that moment. You felt it.
I did.
Damn.
I did.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
But that's what happens, though.
yeah, definitely. I want to, we're probably close on time, right? But I kind of want to just.
You got another question?
But I would say, but just real quick,
Yeah.
that was a definitive moment. But the hardest decisions of my life is definitely right now.
Just because.
In terms of like, now you got your son,
Yeah, like what's more important? Freedom of schedule, my son, making money. I have this house now.
Yeah.
I just ran for mayor.
Exactly.
If I was in LA, I know what I'd be doing. But I'm in New Haven. It's a different market. You know what? It's not an entrepreneurial place. There's no sports, entertainment, media like we talked about. There's no branding agency. People don't take Instagram that serious. Everyone consumes Instagram, but no one produces on Instagram, which is such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like everyone's scared to be in the spotlight, which I don't understand because I'm not that person.
You kind of just laid it up for the last question. So my last question is, what is next? You just got this new house, beautiful house. You got your son, you're raising your son, and it's just, you just ran for mayor. So like, what is, I guess, do you have like your short-term and long-term goals? Like, what do you see in the future for yourself?
Like, I've looked at different corporate entities in New Haven, and as I've looked, I've realized there's no opportunity here unless you want to work for Yale. But even to work for Yale, which to make 150 grand a year in New Haven is very difficult unless you're an entrepreneur. You have to own a company or be C-level, so I have a few different business plans I'm working on right now.
All right.
So we'll see what happens.
Like B2B situation, go business to business and sell.
So I have like branding. There's no major branding agency in New Haven. There should be. We're like the epicenter of the entire state. Someone needs to put this city on the map. That's what I wanted to do in the first place, is running for mayor. So maybe I can do it through starting a branding agency. Then there's obviously Sportsplex, but not the one in Clinton. Another one closer this way, like Milford area. Because like now that I've been in youth sports, like this is crazy the amount of money parents spend on their kids.
Yeah.
They'll spend endless amounts. My son's soccer is $3,500 a year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's why soccer is lagging, because if you don't have the resources to pay for it, whereas in Europe, it's not pay to play. It's the best kids actually play. And the pro teams are funding youth programs, and they're getting a cut off of the youth program.
So you said earlier you're all in, you know, so I guess what I'm wondering now is like, do you think you could pull the trigger on multiple things? Or if you had to pick one to go all in on and focus, like what would you do? Would you want to do the Sportsplex thing? Or would you want to do the branding thing? Or could you manage both? Like, where do you feel like you'd have to pick one and go with it? Or, and if you did have to pick one, which one do you feel like you would lean towards?
I mean, Sportsplex, but they both go hand in hand, right? Because if I start the brand agency now, the brand agency just carries into the Sportsplex because all the relationships that you're building while you're doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sportsplex, you're talking like $20 million investments. You got to raise the money, but that's legacy. That kind of thing prints money.
True.
I like that. I like going after top tier if I can. You know, you got to think big. I dream big. I'd rather dream big and fail than not dream at all.
Do you think everyone has what it takes to be an entrepreneur?
No, not at all.
Say that, yeah.
No, some people are worker bees and some people are entrepreneurs. You need both.
Yeah, you need the 9 to 5.
If everyone had an entrepreneurial mindset, this country would never progress.
Yeah.
If everyone was a worker bee, no one would progress either.
Yeah.
So they're equally as important.
Yeah, it's like everyone can't be a captain.
No,
100%.
I know.
So
I know.
gotta have somebody to lead.
Facts.
There he is. What's up, dude?
Oh man,
How are you? You have anything you want to kind of end off with, or
You kind of ended. I would say, Steve, if you can go back to your 20s or 30s or any moment in your age that you could go back to and maybe do something different. We kind of talked about it a little bit with being more present, but maybe besides that, or if that's it, what would be something that you can go back, tell your 20-year-old self, and say, hey, listen, we've already done this. You want to do it this way. Do you have any moment like that?
No, it's tough because it doesn't matter what direction you take. There's no wrong way of doing it. Like I was telling Jeff, we were talking about Pat, police. And now being back here, I realize the way to, because everything's based on your product of your environment. So if you live in New Haven, honestly, it makes more sense to don't even go to college. 18 years old, fire, police, UI, gas company.
a trade?
Dude, by the time you're 38, you're 20 years in, you can retire. You have a pension, you have a 401k, and then you can still go and do another job after that. And you're good. So that's honestly probably the best way to go for here. Now, if you live in another part of the country, it might be different, you know? Like sports, entertainment, and media is obviously where I thrive. I got to be in New York. I got to be in LA. Maybe you can bring it here and it would work, but it might not work. Yeah. But you have someone else to take the risk to do that in the first place.
I especially too. I think especially for this area on the East Coast where we live, like it's like 1 in a million, dude. Like, you know, guy your age, you're in tune. You're so in tune with like the culture and content, and you understand how important social media is and branding. So I feel like a lot of people that are your age are just like so far from that. So
everybody wants to be visible. Yeah. Everybody wants to have like a powerful brand.
Yeah.
But most people don't take the steps to get to be. You know, it's all about how you can start. Most people don't know how to start in the first place.
Dude, that's why even with this, man, we're doing it. Like we didn't. Again, he just called me up and was just like, "Yo, like come over, like we're filming the first episode." Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're right, dude. Most people do want to build. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, you know, we work 9 to 5s, but at some point, like hopefully trying to see where this can go and see if we can use our passion for just like trying to do something else to, you know.
Part of the plan.
Passion is the currency, baby.
Exactly. But I mean, with that being said, like, thank you for coming on, dude. I think that wraps it up.
Yes, Steve. Seriously, it was a pleasure to talk to you, man. Yeah. Thank you for all the insight. I mean, I feel like you guys, you could run this episode back. Run it back. Check the timestamps. Run it back.
Dreams and Day Jobs on YouTube and Instagram. We're out. Awesome.